Singapore is an island state in Southeast Asia where its wealth and prosperity far surpasses the country's small size. Having been a British colony until becoming self-governing and eventually its own country in the 1960s, Singapore's aviation history traces its origins back to 1968. The RAF that held the responsibility of protecting the area left, and in its place was the new Republic of Singapore Air Force, which has grown to become one of the most modern and powerful air arms in the region. The active Paya Lebar Airbase also has a museum that is free for visitors to see a collection of aircraft that have been part of Singapore's Air Force. Today I am at the Singapore Aviation Museum, located at an active military airbase. Getting to the Air Museum from downtown Singapore is easy, as it can be reached by taking the DT Metro line and then a short walk to the airbase. Whilst en route, I was buzzed by a couple F-15 Eagles on a landing approach. There are a few exhibits held outside, and the rest within a small museum building. Starting with the outdoor exhibits, the first one is something not commonly seen at aviation museums. One of a number of countries that have a use for a small but capable early warning aircraft, Singapore operated the Grumman E2 Hawkeye until fairly recently. Better known as being a carrier-based aircraft, the Hawkeye has been purchased by a number of countries solely for land-based use. Besides this is an Aerospatiale AS-332 Puma helicopter, brightly painted for air-sea rescue work. Having been in service since 1985, they are being replaced with Airbus H225 helicopters. Two other helicopters are on display outside, one being a Bell UH-1 Huey and the other being a Eurocopter Fennec. Complementing this are two of the earliest jet aircraft that entered Singapore Air Force service, these being a Hawker Hunter and a Douglas A4 Skyhawk. The Hawker Hunter was Singapore's first jet fighter, where they served until 1992. The Skyhawk was operated by the Singapore Air Force right up until 2012, thanks to some updates on some airframes that increased their capabilities. Also outside and clinging on to the museum building like dragonflies are two Italian-built light aircraft, being an SIAI S211 jet trainer and an SF260 propeller trainer. Inside the museum building are further aircraft and helicopters, some of which are the same types as what can be seen outside. Two further Skyhawks are kept inside, one being a curiously designed twin-seat trainer with two separate cockpits and canopies, rather than both cockpits housed under one canopy like other Skyhawk trainer variants. The other is in a grey and white scheme similar to early US Navy Skyhawks, with different markings compared to those used by the Singapore Air Force today. Further Hawker Hunter can be found, this one heavily armed with 2 bombs under the fuselage and 4 wing-mounted missiles. Having been designed at a time when fighters were still equipped with multiple cannons as their armament, these modifications to add missiles shows how these aircraft were still useful up until the early 1990s. There are 2 more trainer aircraft held inside, one being a British BAC Strike Master and the other being an American Lockheed T-33 Shooting Star. The Strike Master was one of the first jet aircraft operated by the Air Force in 1969. Lockheed T-33s were acquired around a decade later to supplement training on jet aircraft, though these only served a relatively short period of time before being retired in 1986. One of the most recent additions to the museum is a Northrop F-5E Tiger, these lightweight fighters having served the Air Force for 36 years before being retired in 2015. This one has colourful tail markings to commemorate the anniversary of the type. Fairly well camouflaged against the hangar roof is a Cessna 172. The last aviation exhibits include a further Bell UH-1 Huey and an example of the first helicopter the Air Force operated being the French-designed Sud Aviation Alouette. Other notable displays at the museum are a Searcher UAV drone that was introduced in the mid-1990s, and a ground-to-air missile, and some air defense equipment outside.
If you have enjoyed this video on the Singapore Air Force Museum, why not leave a like and follow my channel for more, and I'll bring you many more aviation museums from the rest of the world. However, until next time, see you around.